Welcome to Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast, where we hear real stories from real people and we tackle all sorts of fun topics in the areas of business, marketing, entrepreneurship, mindset, the arts, and, well, life itself. It's amazing what you will pick up. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, everyone. Episode 218 of Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast. I'm very excited. It's the last one for the year, and I have a sensational guest. Adam Scougall is here. How you doing, Adam?
I'm great, Darren. How you going?
Very, very well, sir. It's been a long time coming. We've been organising this for a long time, so I'm glad you're here.
I'm really pleased to be here.
Oh, man, it's going to be great. Really looking forward to getting into it. And Adam is an interior designer, and we're going to be talking about the Adam Scougall Story, a life in interior design.
Partial,
exactly. So the Adam Scougall Story is one that is a little out of the box. After 18 years of people leadership in his corporate life, he ventured out in 2018 to running his solo design business full-time. This lasted for 3.5 years before he returned to where he started, corporate with a buzzing design side hustle. After working with a broad range of clients, some great and some a nightmare, Adam became tired of having to accept jobs that he could make ends meet, as opposed to fulfilling his creative juices. He wanted stability, steadier finances, and the ability to only take on design work that fulfilled both his vision and his client's vision. Adam now enjoys what he calls a lifestyle business, balancing projects he only wants to take on, whilst happily holding down a full-time gig at his corporate firm of choice. Adam's new podcast, So You Want to Be an Interior Designer, was created to help aspiring interior design or decorating solopreneurs with the support they need to kickstart their business. Adam specializes in supporting the designer who is running an interior design business while working 9 to 5 and the navigation that takes to complete projects while doing so. So welcome, mate. What a story.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not the sexiest thing, I guess, for people. They'd be thinking, why would you want to work 9 to 5 and try and do design jobs? Like,
it sounds
where's
like a lot
the
of work.
beauty in that? But you know what? I think you touched on it, Darren, is, 2018, I did leave after 18 years in corporate and also about 8 or 9 years of doing the juggling act.
Yeah.
So I learned how to do that really well. But, as you know, 2018, then 19 was pretty good. Yeah. And then 20, 21, that work wasn't good. But what I learned from all that, what we all kind of endured. But look, in this particular business, it's not just me. It's lots of, and it's more the solopreneur, I think. We're decorators, designers, whatever you want to call us. But, when you're running your own luxury, it's a luxury, when you're running your own luxury business. And I don't mean luxury as if I'm putting chandeliers in everybody's houses. I just mean, if you've got, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you've got $100,000 to blow on furniture and paint and window, that's luxury, right? I mean, that's a luxury. That's what I mean by luxury. But luxury, it's not necessity. It's not essential.
Yeah. So
other things are essential, but not luxury services. So what I learned through that whole period, COVID, et cetera, was that, this is open. Recession, pending, looming, whatever. This is open to lots of up and down times. And I just didn't want the up and down financial heave-ho.
Yep.
I didn't want it. And I thought, hang on, I enjoyed doing this as a side hustle. I had supplemental income, which was great. Yep. And you know what? On the 15th of the month, I also got that direct deposit that paid the mortgage. What was happening after I left my job, of course, it's not hard to work out, Darren, is that all that it turned upside down. So, of course, it was COVID. If we didn't have COVID, it may have been easier. But even now, at this time of year, and I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy about any of this, I know lots of decorators and designers that are it's dry, or it has been. And there's ebb and flow, as we know, as you know too, Darren, running your own show, and there's lots of balls that go up in the air. But I decided to just do it in a way that I could still have a creative release, because it's all about just being able to show yourself, your creative soul to the world.
Definitely.
But I didn't need that to sort of also be the conduit to me being financially stable.
Love it.
So that's the whole reason behind it. And I know it's not a sexy thing to think about, but I would rather kind of be knowing that I can pay the mortgage consistently and still have my creative juices sort of met or needs met.
Yep.
By just being able to balance the two. And that was the decision I made just recently.
And I love that, because a lot of the time when you're a creative person and you have a particular passion and you turn it into a full-time job, you can start to lose the passion for it as well. It becomes just a day-to-day grind. Whereas if you do it the way you're doing it, you can still really love every project because you can pick and choose your projects. You can pick and choose who you want to work with. And it's just like a creative outlet, and you're getting a little bit of side money as well. So I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a fantastic thing to do.
That's really it, Darren. So, I've got friends of mine that do this full time. And we're all in different situations in our lives. Sometimes it's, I think it's easier if you have a significant other that can support you when it's a little bit dry. But look, just the idea that some people have, designers I know, that they have to kind of tweak their process because someone doesn't like their contract. So I want you to change it, or I don't like that style. I want you to, be a little bit more sort of conservative in the way that you approach things because that's too bold. Or I think that whole creative side of what we started out as, we want to express ourselves. I love a fair bit of color and getting into that in the design. The whole sort of reason behind me doing it was to really go and try and be the best I could be in terms of being different and not just doing subtle sort of beiges and giving people, the norm. So, but what I find is when you're desperate for the next job, you kind of, I really need the money. So maybe I should change my contract and pull that part out, or maybe I shouldn't ask for 100% payment up front because they don't want to pay me that. Yeah. And if they don't pay me 50%, then 50% is better than nothing, but I hope they pay me the second, all that stuff. Yeah, so I wanted to get out of that. And the one thing I want to say to people that are considering getting into design and even considering how they're going to do that, especially more mature people, Darren, like I didn't start this till the late 30s. Wow. I turned 50 in Feb. So if you want to start late and you've got financial commitments, then it doesn't have to be the be all and end all. You can actually run projects while you're working, and maybe consider diversifying your income in terms of other things you can do, i.e.
Absolutely.
Start a podcast and start to get people in and
absolutely,
I don't know, offer other things besides the design, because it can be really up and down. So
I agree. And what is it about interior design that you love so much? Obviously you've gone on this journey where you've been in, you've been out, you've been in, you've been out, but you're still so passionate about it and you still want to continue in that field. So what is it that you love about it?
You know what it is? It's just that when people come to you, and now I don't, I'm not fishing around for any Tom, Dick and Harry, or I'm not trying to connect and market to everybody so I can get a little job in or get a job in to pay my bills. So when people come to me now, then normally it's because I've been going for a few years. Yep. They know somebody and they've got the trust, which is really important. And they come in and they say, Adam, we know you did Joe Blow's place. We love that you did this and that. And we really would love for you to work on our house. That's a huge, huge ego boost. It's a pat on the back. It's saying, what you've actually stepped out of in your late 30s and from nothing. I didn't have parents that were decorators or designers or knew anyone, didn't know anyone in the industry. By going and taking the study later in life and then working away at it for years, I had a partnership that didn't work out. Trying to balance all the balls in the air, when you're working and you're and you're actually designing, it's just the pride in saying I've got people calling me because they really like what I do, and that I own that. That's my creative output. Definitely. So that's the reason why I still do it, because the people coming to me, thank goodness, they're not saying, well, I've got 3 quotes from 3 different people, and can you do it at this price?
Oh God, yeah.
That's not what happens.
Yeah. They say, I really love the way you design their room
can
and
you do it
house.
cheaper?
Can you just do it?
No, they come and there's a reference point. So that's also the beauty of not relying on this as a full-time income, because I just, if someone's going to be a pain in the neck, and I'm being, serious here. You can get some different personalities coming through.
Sure.
Or if someone wants to control the process and all that awful stuff I mentioned before, then I don't want to work with them.
No. I'm sure you can, like, people can micromanage to the hilt, and that can create a nightmare for you.
Yeah, I had all sorts of, back in the day, there was no process. And so I built all that up. And, you've got all sorts of crazy people that want to do different things with you. And, I just found that when I wasn't relying on that to be my financial be all and end all, I ended up, it was a lot better.
Love that. Love that. Well, Adam, let's break it down a bit, because I've always been fascinated by the field and I don't know much about it. So for all the people out there that don't know what an interior designer actually does or how they work, maybe just explain a bit about how it works and what are the general, areas within design, because I'm pretty green to this stuff.
Oh yeah, sure. So look, there's lots of different there's an umbrella and lots of, different ways you can go with it. I mean, I'm really a decorator, Darren. So what that means is I get involved in more the peripheral side of things. Well, I actually call myself a decorator who designs, because it's all of the pretty stuff, but it's also, if somebody wants a kitchen or a bathroom done, or they want their study they want a whole lot of CAD drawings, or they want a study to have lots of these intricate drawers and ways that they can move the computers around and have a TV and bookshelves open, closed, all that stuff with beautiful handles.
Space,
all that stuff is design. I actually outsource that to other designers that are designers.
Right.
And I kind of have an idea in my head, and I can sketch out, see what I want, but then I'll hand it over to other people to do the drawings. Gotcha. So a designer does stuff like kitchen, bath. A decorator does stuff like, paint colors, fabrics and window treatments and all that stuff. You've got residential, so you just do people's homes, or you got commercial, where you go out and do restaurants and office spaces. I'm not really into that side of things. I'm more a decorator, but decoration, design, two different things. To be a designer, you really should go and get a degree, or at least an advanced diploma at a college like a TAFE college, or you can go to a private college, or even a university. A decorator, you can go and get a certificate from one of the colleges around, and there's a number of those around.
Or you can just do nothing. You just might have a flair for decorating, and you don't have to do anything.
Do you know, half the people that are on TV, that they've never studied in their lives, and they've done so-and-so with their home. So look, designers will say you need to go and get a degree, and then you've got other people like we're talking about that have just had years of experience and they still get by.
And have you ever done like hotels, or is it more always smaller, like houses and residential properties?
Yeah, so mine's completely residential. But some people have said to me, you should consider doing some commercial, like restaurants and things like that, because I do some out there things in people's homes, and sometimes, it's probably not for everybody. So some of that stuff might be, well placed in a funky restaurant where you're kind of there for 3 hours, maybe not the rest of your life.
Love it. And so when should people think about using a designer, and when would you say, don't use me? You don't need me?
I would say if you don't have a significant amount to spend on the designer, because it's not just the furniture and the cost of the furniture you might bring in. It's also the designer needs to make a living, so you got their fees. So also too, if you don't have, if you want to do 3 bedrooms in your house and you want to redecorate everything, new rugs, blah, 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 you should be thinking, it's about 20 grand a room, 20, 40, 60. Most people think, what, 3 rooms for 60 grand?
A room? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you only have to go, if you go to Freedom Furniture and you start adding up, there's a couch, there's a coffee table, there's a rug. Most people, even with basic sort of pricing like that, they go, oh, gee, a room, it was about $12,000. And then, you've got your fees for your designer. The designer's got to make a living, or decorator. And so I think don't reach out to a designer if you really don't have some significant cash to burn on it, because it is a luxury, like I was saying, Darren. Like it's not for everybody, because it's a specific skill. There are skills involved, whether you've done it just self-trained or you've done it at a college. But I would say don't use a designer. Well, gee, I mean, you can go to a builder, you can go to a kitchen company. If you're getting a kitchen done, they'll do your kitchen for you. They probably won't charge you a fee, or it's nominal. If you're good with color, basically, generally, you probably can get by on your own, and you'll know that yourself if you've got a flair. But unless you've got a significant amount of extra cash to burn, you probably shouldn't be calling a designer thinking, definitely don't call a designer when you think it'll come out cheaper, because they get lots of discounts. And they can actually probably bring it all down. If you're thinking about price and getting things cheap and getting it down, don't ring a designer. That's what I'll tell you. Luxury.
I love that. So it is a luxury service. And if you,
it is a luxury.
If you're the type of person that really enjoys spending time in your place, and your place is your showcase to the world, and and you have the money, then perfect. Because I suppose you want to have a lovely environment. You might work there every day as well. So why not enjoy the space?
Yeah. And I hope it didn't sound a little bit sort of flippant there, but what I'm trying to say is, and it is an investment, and we're not going and buying Fendi sofas for everybody. Yeah. We're just going and buying reasonable priced, good quality things. And, we're always checking in with the client that it's what they want and it fits their aesthetic and their need and how they work and live and function. But it is an expense. So I think unless you're pretty gifted, you probably do need some help. But again, the level of help you need depends on how much you've got to spend. But if you can invest, it's awesome. It's an awesome experience.
And as well, it obviously increases the value. That wouldn't change the value of your place unless you're renting something else with furniture or something. So it wouldn't make any difference. Yeah.
Well, if you've got a shocking layout in your home, and you've got an old place and there's all these pokey little rooms, a designer, we're talking about decorators and designers, but a designer will recreate the floor plan for you, open up those pokey little rooms, give you a large master, work out how you can connect a bathroom, an ensuite. So a lot of that's really important. Some pokey old kitchen, if you renovate that with a designer who's got a good idea and you can maximize the floor plan. I won't get into too much detail. You might start to fall asleep, Darren. But
I love this stuff. It's fascinating.
But this stuff does get you a return on investment. Probably what's not a big return on investment is if you've got someone who's a little bit wacky like me sometimes and wants to paint different walls in different. I did a pink, and in Summer Hill, Darren, I did up the whole lounge room, hot pink and emerald green to this couple just ready to go.
Love it. I like having a wall that's different colors.
West people that have, they want to see a bit of spark. It looks awesome, by the way. I'm making it sound dreadful, but
no, it's great. I love the idea of having a feature wall. Either I've seen feature walls with either really cool wallpaper or feature walls that are painted a totally different color.
Yeah. This is a bit more than a feature wall.
All right. This is like
this was the whole room. But so look, there are advantages. You can resell, but my whole thing is that I want to meet up with people and attract people that want to stay in the house
because they want to enjoy
who knows where
place.
Not just flipping it, because I'm not the right person for them. I'm there to kind of, you want to live out your fantasy at home, and sometimes you want to relax and have smooth and tranquil areas, but then sometimes you want to have that cocktail party area like these people I mentioned in Summer Hill, and really enjoy it and take it to the max. And that's what I like.
Have they invited you back to enjoy the place in a party?
Well, we did this as it was, we're getting crunch into that second wave of COVID, so I've spoken to them on Instagram and text, but we haven't caught up again for a while.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully they will. And I'd love to know the process. Like, if you engage with you, do you have different packages whereby you might work together with someone to go with them and choose stuff, or do you just do it all yourself? And do you give them a choice of which brands you might use, and how does that all work?
Well, you know what? What you start off doing, and what any good decorator or designer should do, is ask you heaps of questions, Darren, about, how do you want to live? Do you want to relax, and do you want to chuck if your shoes get on the couch, is that an issue, or do they need to be off, or do you need to be shoeless in there? Can you handle bright color, and how do you feel when you look at these colors, and what do you need in your study, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you need to do lots of questions and show people images. I have to do that because what one person thinks is coastal or, Hampton style or retro is completely opposite to maybe what it actually technically is. So there's got to be lots of visuals, lots of questions. That's the first thing to do, and do that really well. Then for me, I don't take them around to the shops.
Okay. No.
No. What I do, and it's better for them too, they have a much better time, is we do all that exploratory stuff and get to know each other and sort of know that we're on the same page. And then I'll go and put it together for them, but I'll give them options. So I will meet them once. I'll come back in to talk to trades and stuff like that. But the client basically is out of the picture. Not completely. We talk on email and on phone, but I will then come back a few weeks later and present the whole thing as a visual plan and with drawings and, you know, black and white, so you can see it. If you're a real left brain, you want to know obviously where things are placed in the room, and basically they're not there. I just find that taking people out, they get confused and it just interrupts the process.
Because they don't have your vision as well. They don't know what it's going to look like.
Too many shiny, yeah, that's right. Too many shiny objects, Darren. Right. What about that? What about that? And then everybody's confused. And I think it's not a good thing. So I do a turnkey process.
Okay.
I meet them, have the consultation, do the design, and then we do it all. The final part, they disappear, and it's not an option if they can or they can't hang around. They have to go. And what I mean is they have to leave for a few days until we do the final install.
Amazing. And then you're there managing.
And I'm there with people finishing up the painting, and the client has to go. Wow. It's kind of not, you know, I want to hang around. Well, you can't. Otherwise we can't. This is the other thing about not having to just work with anybody and whatever they want to do. If they don't want to follow my process, which I know they're going to love, it's much. Imagine leaving your place, Darren. It's whatever. You take off for a week and you come back or 2 weeks. And it's like that awesomeness that you just can't believe is your home.
It's like when people start crying on home improvement shows.
Yeah, well, kind of. It's the same thing. And there's a lot of stress and a lot of, you know, you can break things. And while the client's away, I get to fix that up or replace it and bring it back in. But they don't hang around for all the drama. I get them out of there. We work it all out. There's lots of ways we do it. But that's the way I do it. And I have to say to whoever's calling me, I'm only going to do it that way. You're comfortable. If they're not, I can't work with them.
Work with someone else. I love that. Very, very.
And if I was desperate for anybody, maybe I would not do that. But that wouldn't be good for them and wouldn't be good for me.
Definitely. Because I can see that's part of your process and that's what you love. You love the final wow. And you're not going to get that if they're there next to you the whole time.
Sniffing around, you know, and I've done both. It's dreadful. So it's better when they're out of the picture. They love it much better. Right. And they love the whole process much more. It's better for the client. Yeah,
it is, because you know they're spending good money and they want to have that nice surprise.
Should be an experience. Should be an awesome experience.
I love that. So true. And do you have? I mean, this might be a silly question, but can you just work with any suppliers, or do you have like your own relationships, and every now and again you might add one, or how do you, if you see one little piece somewhere, you just go and approach them, or how does that all work?
Well, we work generally, we've got trade suppliers. The reason that it's better for us to work with trade suppliers and not just go down to your local, you know, Freedom furniture is because the quality of the furniture is generally better. Mm-hmm. And we have a high range of catalog stuff that we can just go to quickly. So whereas if you're meandering around and you don't have, say, a designer as a support, you might just be there for weekends going, I didn't find exactly, but I don't even know where to go. Where do you even go for a side table that's got a rattan top and pink legs and how do I want it? I don't even know how to get it. But designers have this broad knowledge of all these different options that it actually doesn't take us long to find things. We also have a really broad relationship with people that do bespoke things, like bespoke wooden furniture, or updating beautiful pieces that the client has. You know, part of the joy is when you can work with a client, you actually are taking the stuff they have, you know, vintage pieces, and getting them recovered, and some old chest, you know, or old entertainment unit
or whatever.
You're changing it from some cruddy old sort of chipped look to a beautiful white look. It's all sorts of things we do, but we can come up and solve all that stuff really quickly because we've been doing it for years. The problem for most people is they think they can do it, but they don't really know where to go. They haven't got the time, and it sort of ends up being a dog's breakfast sometimes because they're not really. And in the end, people settle for whatever they get over it.
And also they don't know the questions to ask if they want to do that.
They don't know the questions.
You've done this so many times, you know what the pitfalls are.
Yeah. So we do have trade suppliers, and that's a faster way. And it's less design time that we need because we've got this vast catalog or whole lot of suppliers there. And we go, okay, you want this look? Then we go here.
Gotcha.
And it's done quite quickly. Most people think we're going to kind of just sometimes mooch around and take lots of hours to go and drive. But we're not doing that because we've got it locked down. We know where to go very quickly. That's the joy of having someone that has that sort of catalog of options.
Right. So then what would your average decoration process, how long would it take?
Well, it depends on the job. You know what I mean? Like, just say you wanted to do a master bedroom, just one room, and you want a new bed, and you want to do wallpaper, and you want to do window treatments, and that might be a few weeks in the process. You've got to meet the client, then you've got to come up with ideas, which takes time. So that could be minimum, probably a month for some basic design. And then they've got to say yes. You've got to have options because they don't always like everything you pick. So I try to have options right there at the follow-up meeting. So I'm not going back and looking again. It's also important not to give too many options because people get confused. We all get confused. If I give you 6 different fabrics for that vintage chair that I'm recovering, you're going to go, oh God, how does that work with that? And then I'm not sure. I better ask Jan or hubby or wife. And then they ask 15 people. Anyway, so I come in with a couple of options, 2 or 3 max. And then it's about, okay, are you ready to place your order? You got to give me money. It's 100% up front because we're ordering all this stuff. And so you need to have that investment amount. And of course, I've got fees attached because I'm going to be the person that runs after the orders and places them and installs them and deals with problems that you're hopefully never going to know about. So the whole process, Darren, if even for a master bedroom, for example, it's going to take probably 6 to 8 weeks to get that done if everything's in stock.
And then, so how do you manage all this with your full-time job?
So I've got a process. So I've worked with several coaches since when did I start working with a coach? About 2016. So what I did is I created this process, which I now use, where I have, I come in to a project only at certain times and next to minimal time. Consultations, most of the time I do them on a Saturday. It's a 2-hour period. Most people are home. Perfect. If you've got a husband and wife, if there's kids involved, they're all home. There's that. I come back one more time and I'll either outsource that to another designer of mine or I'll do it myself. What I mean is I come back in and I start to measure, or we measure up, and I don't do all that the first time I meet the client. So we have maybe that consultation, what I call a trade day. After that, I've got everything I need. I might need another couple of days to source fabrics, etc. All of the drawing I outsource. What the other benefit of me doing this is it actually gives work to solopreneur designers that are doing this full time. I can't do any drawings, computer aided stuff. So I will hand all that over to somebody else and pay them a fee to do that. So this is all baked into the fee structure that I've created. And then it's an ordering process after that, which can be weeks, 6, 8, 10. Then I only do an install. So I'm not sending bits and bobs, or I'm not driving around with the client here and there and getting a coffee and all that. We don't have any of that. We just do an install, and it's, might be a 2-week period. And then again, I've got someone who works with me. She does some of the on-site stuff. If it's a longer process, meeting with trades and coming back to me. So I'm sharing some of I'm sort of contracting out some of that, which means that I'm earning less money, but there's other ways that a designer can earn money as well. There's trade pricing that you get as well. And there's also charging your fee structure, charging a decent amount for it, and not undercutting yourself with your design fees is really important.
Because your experience is worth something.
Yeah. But the way I do it is I've got a turnkey approach. They follow my process. They don't handle any of it. If they follow my process, there's very minimal time that I'm actually at the project until the very end, really. And then, to be honest, Darren, I probably do 2 projects now a year, and they're really probably significant houses, apartments, 2 to 3 max. 3 is too many. And I will just have a week's leave, and the other week that is needed, I'll contract that out to Jane, the designer that works with me, and she takes her fee. It's extra work for her. So it's kind of sharing the love.
And you couldn't do more than that, because obviously it sounds like the process is much longer than I would think. Like the whole process from A to Z.
3 months minimum. Yeah. So two for me is all I do. And and it's the key is that I'm not there or every 5 minutes with the client going here, there, and everywhere, and just dragging out the process, which I think that happens a lot. There's too much of sort of going
I think
on and
it's
on and on.
true. It's nice that you've got a really nice, tight,
You have a tight timeline, and
organized structure.
people are comfortable with that. They love to know that it's going to start in February and be done at the end of June.
Yep.
June 30 is a cutoff. People need the deadline.
That's awesome, man. I'd love to hear a little bit about, a success story. What's one of the last projects that you did that people you just blew them away? I'd love you to tell us a bit of a story.
Well, it was the one in Summer Hill, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I did one recently. I mean, I've done a couple this year. I did one recently and they loved that. Actually, the last part of a project in Gladesville I did recently, they had their garage. They called me in back after I did the house. Yep. They had a garage and the son's 15 and he's sitting there with all these boxes everywhere and old IKEA cabinets, stuff falling everywhere. And he had his weight set, and a weight was over here and the barbell there and everything. And then he had his computer and he was trying to game. I don't know anything about gaming, but he was trying to sit there with his earphones, just total disarray. So what I did basically is I did a redesign of it, which is on my website. It's a Gladesville project, but I got an IKEA. It was on the budget. So I got IKEA kitchen. I painted the garage into 3 sections. So it's like it was charcoal black, then it went into white and then charcoal black. So it's kind of a bit crazy, but we just cleaned out all the clutter. We got some basic storage from IKEA. I put a kitchen in, no sink or anything, but all of sort of fixed that up for them because it was really a lot of cluttering. And then it was just really cool. It really masculine. And I think just the way that changed how the whole family viewed the space. I put a floor in the garage instead of concrete, put in some couches. It was a bit like a cool sort of...
like a loft kind of feel.
Yeah, it was a bit sort of, bachelor sort of... That was pretty good. And then the other one was that pink and green living room, and I did a huge picture. I like to paint as well. So I did a huge painting of these, a tropical forest with pink parakeets. And they didn't even know what the hell I was going to paint. I'm talking huge. They were coming in thinking, what the hell
is this guy doing?
What's he doing to a wall? Are we going to be really upset? And I could see the angst. They didn't know. But they came in and they loved it. And she passed the champagne. It was cool.
That's awesome. I love it. Is that on your website as well?
Yeah, that's on there. That's Summer Hill. Yeah.
Summer Hill. I'm going to check Gladesville and Summer Hill out. That'd be cool.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh, well done.
Tell me what you think.
So now, Adam, tell us about your podcast.
Well, the podcast is called So You Want to Be an Interior Designer. And just with the podcast, I'm talking to newbies and I'm probably talking to people that are mid-career, which is my story. It's really people with my story. So, you've been doing the corporate thing and maybe all the creative stuff that you thought would happen in your earlier part of your life didn't happen and you're looking for your kind of outlet. And I loved interiors, so I did all that. But it's really about that journey. And it's also teaching people that you don't have to make it your be all and end all. I'm not saying do a 9-to-5 job, but at least get some other income streams in there. Work part-time. There's people sitting around that are designers and they haven't got a part-time job and they're wondering they haven't got any work or, a little bit of here, a little bit of there. I'm just trying to say it's okay. If you want to have creative juices coming out there without having to throw the baby out with the bathwater and not be able to pay your mortgage, it's okay. I'm also, teaching all the different things you need to look at. You need a contract and you need to be able to stand by it. And I talk about charging. What is an hourly fee?
Yep. Do you go through the process?
I go through mine,
Oh, yep, great.
Yeah, which is $250 in 2024. But I go through, what is it when you come out of school? What do they charge? What is it when you're kind of a few years in? What does Greg Natali charge? Who's like a rock star. Actually, I don't give his rate, but I put probably an approximate of what he charges. For people that are in the media, that are on TV, designers, what do they charge? Wow. So there's all that stuff that you don't kind of hear about, you wouldn't have a clue about, that you have to troll around on the internet with. And the other thing I try and do is build people up and let them know that they should really follow their passion and do this. Don't listen to people if they say it's going to be hard or, just go and still do it. And it's okay if you're older. You're better to be older. Have life experience behind you. It's good to get into design, when you're later in life, 30s, 40s, 50s.
So it's really a combination of motivation and inspiration and all the mindset around the craft and then the practical stuff, how to do stuff, why do it this way, what are the processes, how to price, all that kind of thing. So you're kind of giving back to the industry and teaching
Things I've
people.
learned from coaches that were hopeless,
Yeah.
not naming any names, that didn't help me to get clients. Things that do get clients that I've had to sort of create myself. I talk about working with builders and kitchen companies and stuff like that when you really need to make a dollar, which is what I started to figure out, just before I went back to my job. And then I just got jack of it because I was sort of worn out and I needed to earn some money. So that's when I went back to a really great job that I was offered, and then but decided 2 a year. People coming to me. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. I still have an awesome time. I video it. I get it. I talk about the project.
Cool.
But that's it for me. I'm happy with that. It's just about podcast is about my experience and telling people that you can do this any way that you want to do it, however it suits you.
Yep.
But do it. If you want to do it, and I can help you to work
And
it
it
out.
sounds like it's very educational as well. So people should listen to it and they will learn a lot.
Yeah, hopefully it's educational. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But the podcast, as you know, Darren, I've been following you for years. It's a great way to get your voice out there. And then, I'm looking forward to having guests on this year in 2024, which you've been doing for ages.
Yeah.
For the whole time. So
you should have some of your success stories and your clients on there to talk about the process. That'd be fun too.
Yeah, I think we need to get together separately and talk about small things.
Like, you get their feeling of what did they feel like when you said you have to leave the house and leave it up to me, and then they came back and they were absolutely surprised, and that'd be great to capture.
Shameless self-promotion, Darren, on the
exactly.
Love
it. Fantastic, Adam. Well, man, it's been fascinating. I love, it's a really interesting field because I did know very little about it. Now I know a little more. But if people want to find out about you, find your podcast, find all your website and all your stuff, what's the best way to contact you?
So just the website is adamscougall.com. Yep. So hopefully Scougall is Scougall, Scottish surname, adamscougall.com. I do have a quiz. If anybody's, Darren, thinking of getting into the industry, doesn't matter whether you're 21 or you're 61, I've got a quiz that I created, which has it's a report that gets emailed to you once you sign up and you fill in. There's just 15 questions. It takes about 3 minutes. But if you're considering it, or if you're flailing and you're kind of just, it's not happening for you, I've got a quiz on there, which is actually, I'm getting a lot of great feedback from people that are taking it. It's adamscougall.com/podcast. Gotcha. That's where my episodes are. And then in the middle of the page, you've got to take the quiz. Or if you just want to go to adamscougall.com, I've got the portfolio there with all those interesting projects that I mentioned.
Yes, I'm going to check.
They're all there if you want to have a little look.
Indeed. And are you on all the normal podcast channels like Apple, Spotify, YouTube?
Yeah. So the show is actually an audio. Okay. And it's also like yours, Darren. So it's on YouTube as a show. And, I think that's a good thing as well. I think it's a good thing for anybody as well to just be doing video as well as the audio. Absolutely. If you're comfortable doing it.
I agree 100%. Anybody looking to get into podcasting, I highly recommend doing audio and video if you're comfortable.
Awesome.
I definitely recommend that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
So there you go. But I'm so appreciative that you've given me the time to have a chat about it.
Man, I appreciate you coming in and sharing all this great wisdom and passion with the audience and teaching people all about what you do. And maybe there's a couple of people out there that are thinking about getting into design or decorating, and that they can find your stuff and they can learn from you.
If they ever want to have a chat with me too, Darren, just have a chat. I can speak with you for half an hour if you're even unsure of what you're going to do or awesome. where you're going. Just email me. There's a contact page at the website.
Perfect. Well, Adam, I really appreciate it. Last one before Christmas, and what a great one to end on.
Awesome.
Anything you'd like to leave us with?
No, it's just to say thank you to you, Darren. I've been following you you've been going for, I know you've got so many episodes under your belt, but it's very aspirational to me what you're doing. So hopefully I will get to 215 episodes.
You will
whatever it is at this time.
Absolutely. Just a matter of time. You'll get there. Well done, mate. But thank you so much. Everybody out there, I hope you enjoyed that. I want to wish everyone a fantastic Christmas, New Year period. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe, be healthy, be happy, and ready to kick back and resume in 2024 with vigor. So we'll have some great shows for you then as well. But Adam, thanks again, my man. Have a great one, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
You too, Darren. Thank you.
Bye for
Appreciate
now. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast. If you would like to join me as a guest on the show, I would be delighted to collaborate. Feel free to buzz me on 0414 659 800 or email me on darren@suspendedanimation.com.au. I'm always on the lookout for great guests who can share their stories and expertise with my community. Also, if you have been thinking about putting your own podcast together and not sure where to begin, look no further. I run a really simple 3-part podcasting course, one-on-one with me, where I walk you through the entire podcasting journey. You will end up with a fantastic new podcast to start sharing right away. Feel free to get in touch to discuss further. But for now, though, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.